All right, so ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to coverage of Tri-County Baseball here in Pitman at Alcyon Park. Today we've got the Gartons of Vineland versus the Cherry Hill Pitman squad, Kip's Bad Guys, as they like to be known, as we are going to have two of the bitterest rivals and two of the best teams in the South Division of the TCBL squaring off in a 7 p.m. matchup here at Alcyon Park. I'm Dan Wilkins here with my graphics crew, Gavin Van Rel and Caleb Lane, and our producer, Vincent Vogt, as we've got ourselves a wonderful ball game on a wonderful but humid Wednesday evening. Let's talk about what we've got going on between these two teams. The Gartons of Vineland, they may not lose again. They're 11-0 to start the season. They've had incredible performances from Shawnee's Nick O'Brien and several others on the team who have been able to exacerbate really what has been an incredible season for the reigning Carter Cup champions. They won it in 2022. They've also had several titles back in the 2010s that they've really been able to ride the coattails of into the 2023 season. But for Cherry Hill Pitman, they've had themselves a good season as well. 9-5, they're second in the Tri-County South Division, and they've had themselves a good year. We've had Adrian Gonzalez, the winner of the Home Run Derby down in the All-Star game between the Tri-County League and the South Shore League. They've really been going at it, and even though Gonzalez doesn't have any home runs in the regular season this year, they definitely have some folks that do, including their player manager, Chris Rollins, who is one of our featured players of the game. We'll go back to our starting lineups as we're going to introduce, first of all, Chris Williams, Gartons of Vineland. It's going to be Ant Schooley at third base, batting leadoff. Nick O'Brien is second baseman, batting second. Ryan McIsaac is the shortstop, batting third. Dylan Maria is the first baseman, batting fourth. Jake Cupsey of Barton University is going to be the DH, batting fifth. Darren Fisher is the center fielder, batting sixth. Sebastian Piscaretta is the catcher, batting sixth. Jack Peacock is the extended hitter, batting eighth. Scott Craig is the right fielder, batting ninth. And then after that is Ben Mayer in left field. Stephen Mayer is going to be the pitcher for the Gartons tonight, as CHP has already taken the field. So we'll give you the CHP lineup real quick, and then we'll go back to the main action here from Alcyon. It's Bill Rice in center field for CHP, as he bats leadoff next to Adrian Gonzalez, the shortstop. He bats second. Austin Lay is the right fielder, batting third. Chris Rollins is the third baseman, batting cleanup. Luke Lesh is the first baseman, batting fifth. John Gristuo is the second baseman, batting sixth. Montana Millward is the catcher, batting seventh. Sean Cottrell is the DH, batting eighth. And then after that is Brett Kuchera and Lou Alvarado, the DH, with Ethan Schaub on the mound. So we'll go up to the main board as we've got CHP versus Gartons baseball here at Alcyon Park. What a night for a beautiful game between two great teams. And there is Ethan Schaub right there of RCSJ Gloucester getting his start there in number one. The lefty going to be making the start here versus the 11-0 Gartons of Vineland. Again, you're watching coverage of Tri-County Baseball here on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. This is our first game, hopefully of many, with Bill Kohut and the TCBL. Hopefully everybody that's watching tonight can make this a good experience, and we can have ourselves a great ball game under the lights in Pitman. So here we go. Gartons getting their first batters squared away here, as from Alcyon Park, Lou Alvarado breaks with his pitcher Schaub, as Ant Schooley of Cherokee High School is going to be batting leadoff. Again, the first three for the GOV is going to be Schooley, Nick O'Brien, and Ryan McIsaac, three infielders. And the CHP will have their first pitch of the night. First pitch swing and a miss, 0-1, and we're underway. Lefty kicks and deals. That one misses downstairs, 1-1. As we said, these two teams have faced off against each other twice this year so far, with the score being exactly the same, with the Gartons winning 3-2 in both occasions. As there's a strike, it's 1-2. The pitch from Schaub to Schooley is a foul back towards home plate. It's still 1-2. It's a hot one. Hot July afternoon/evening here in Pitman. Current weather, it's actually 77 degrees, but it's also extremely humid. We had some light showers on the way down here. Got stuck in some traffic, but what you'll do, you know, it's just a matter of beating out the rain and being able to still play some nice baseball. But here's a ground ball out towards second. It's stopped on a slide, and a great play, and a throw over to first is in time for the first out. Nice play there by Cristino, and that's going to bring up, O'Brien of Shawnee High School. He's been one of the premier hitters on the Gartons. He's got a homer. He's got over a 400 batting average, and has really been the star player, the star youngster on this Gartons team. You got to remember, CHP is a very veteran team. A lot of their players are in their 30s, you know, a little bit up there. And here's a ground ball out to short, picked up on the first pitch. O'Brien is retired, and there's 2 down. So here is Ryan McIsaac, as CHP will look for a 1-2-3 inning to start the night. After this would be the first baseman, Dylan Maria, if needed. There's a strike, 0-1. Here's a fly ball hit out to center field. It's hit well, but it'll be catchable in center field for Bill Rice, and the side is retired. CHP knocks down the Gartons 1-2-3 in the first. The home side will get their first chance to hit after this break. Here in the bottom of the first, Garton's of Vineland went down 1-2-3 in the top half. Now Stephen Mayers is going to get the opportunity in the bottom half of the first to attack the Cherry Hill Pitman. Three will be Bill Rice, the center fielder, Adrian Gonzalez, the shortstop, and Austin Lay, the right fielder. Here is Rice, the first man to hit here versus Mayers. You're watching coverage of the Tri-County Baseball League here from Alcyon Park in Pitman. Here with my producer Vincent Vogt, I'm Dan Wilkins. Hope you're enjoying the broadcast. If you're just joining us, no score in the bottom of the first and a first pitch strike. The 0-1 from Mayers is a line shot, and that's going to trickle in the center field for a base hit. So Bill Rice gets the offense started for CHP, and now the home run derby champion doesn't have any in the regular season, but certainly had some down in Northfield. Here is Adrian Gonzalez. No relation that I know of the former Red Sox and Dodgers first baseman, the multi-time All-Star. I would say that that's a pretty common Hispanic name, but I've been told by our league organizer, Bill Kohut, that this guy is kind of like I'd say his MLB comp would be like Alex Rodriguez, something like that. But definitely, oh, he's showing it off here with the bunt. Ground ball to third. There won't be a play at first, and a bunt single. They had a counter throw down to second base, but nothing was successful. So runners on first and second with nobody out, getting it started quickly here and putting the pressure on, as it'll now be the right fielder, Austin Lay, one of the bigger power hitters in this TCBL so far. But as we said, these two are very good teams that bounce off each other well. It's been very close games when these two have played, and it just ends up making for a very good experience. So this is the third time these two have faced off against each other this year, you know, these guys being in divisional play. There's been a lot of delays, a lot of cancellations because of bad weather. Obviously, a couple weeks ago, there was the whole thing with the Canada wildfires that canceled a lot of things. I know that Camden County shut down all public fields for a couple of days because of that, you know, the air quality being quite unhealthy. But it's going to be 1-1 to Lay, with Chris Rollins, the player manager, on deck at the third base spot. No score, bottom of the first. Runners on first and second for CHP as they continue to have a threat, and his helmet fell off. Swing and a miss. I mean, you really got to be throwing hard for your helmet to just fly off your head like that. That's great. I see that sometimes with the younger kids when I'm covering like youth leagues and middle school leagues, and their helmets that they buy from like Dick's Sporting Goods are too big for their own head or too small, so it's like, you know, like there's like a pocket of air in there. There's a grounder foul out towards first. Still 1-2. No, but the CHP being 9-5, I think that two of those losses coming to Garton's of Vineland, you know, if it goes the other way, these guys are 11-3. So kind of take that record with a grain of salt, considering that Garton's of Vineland, the only undefeated team in the, you know, in the Tri-County League. Hard to beat. So hard to beat that nobody's done it so far. Here's a ground ball out to first. This could be two. Throw to second for one on the first. It will be not in time. Vineland didn't like the call, but Austin Lay is going to reach on a 3-6-3 fielder's choice, and that'll put runners on the corners with one down. So here's Chris Rollins, the player manager. Obviously something that you don't see nowadays, but I mean, there are some MLB managers that are so young that they could still be players. I mean, obviously the player manager phenomenon, Ty Cobb was a player manager, Rogers Hornsby was a player manager, Chuck Klein, you know, all those legends from 100+ years ago, they were all player managers, as there's a strike. But, you know, you look at some of the younger guys like Skip Schumacher, the new manager of the Marlins, Rocco Baldelli, the manager of the Twins. They're probably around 40 years old, and Nelson Cruz is on the San Diego Padres. He just got cut this week, but he's 43 years old. He's older than some of the managers. Here's the 0-1 pitch to Rollins, the cleanup man for CHP. There's a swing and a miss, 0-2. Oliver Marmol is a great example of that. he's the manager of the St. Louis Cardinals, who are right now in a bit of a free fall. But I mean, it's great because they are, I think their manager's 37, and they had Yadier Molina, who was older. Albert Pujols was older than the manager by like 5 years, and so was Adam Wainwright. So there's a swing and a miss. Rollins down on strikes, and Mayers records his second out of the inning, as he'll look to keep this game scoreless through 1, but Luke Lesh will be the man looking to challenge that. So we'll see what he can muster here. But I mean, obviously, with everything that you've got with Pujols, Wainwright, Molina, that kind of like big three, being 5+ years older than the manager, I don't know if it's just me, but it feels like it belittles it a little bit, you know, to where these guys are out here that are actually playing like 5 years older than their manager. It's like having a substitute teacher that's like 5 years older than you, and you're like, you're just one of us. You have no authority. That one is going to be a passed ball, as the runner Lay stole second base, and he got in there. So, although it was on the transfer, so in the actual scorecards, it's not technically referred to as a passed ball. But runners on second and third now. And the pitch to the lefty Luke Lesh. John Cristino will be on deck. He's got a noticeably different jersey than the rest of the crew. He's got a bright white jersey. I don't know if he left his at home or what, but there's a strike. I think that's something that you see with these kind of leagues where, you know, everybody's kind of just playing at their own pace, and, you know, I wouldn't let some of the discrepancies that may look cheapening to you. It honestly makes this league a lot more authentic. You know, this league runs at its own pace. These guys are just having fun. And that's going to be an RBI single into center field, picked up. Here comes the throw to the plate, and it will not be in time. So 1 run scores, and that'll make it 1-0 CHP on the RBI single by Lesh. As we've got some bugs coming around here. There's one that landed on the back of my shoulder. It was terrifying me a little bit. But here is John Cristino with the catcher Montana Millward on deck for CHP. As Luke Lesh drives in a run to open up the ball game, as that one gets away, coming to the plate, the throw. There won't be a throw, and it's 2-0 CHP. They're off to a great start, getting the scoring done early, and who knows, this may be the kind of inspiration that CHP needs to finally knock down the Goliath that is the Gartons of Vineland. But Cristino is going to be ahead in the count 1-0 with a runner on second and 2 down here in the bottom of the first. Nice fastball there from Mayers, and a swing and a miss. Sixth batter of the inning in Cristino, and that one's going to miss outside. That one's going to miss. And here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. Three and 2. Just heard the count from the umpire. A very nice night here in Pitman. Not a whole lot of sounds other than the ones on the bats, but really just a beautiful facility for us to have a broadcast tonight. As a swing and a miss. Mayers allows 2 runs, only one being the fault of his own, but it's 2-0 CHP after 1. We'll see how Chris Williams, there's the manager right there, and the Gartons of Vineland can bounce back. We'll be right back, folks. Top of the second here from Alcyon Park, home of the Pitman Panthers. The Gartons of Vineland trail the Cherry Hill Pitman squad 2-0 after 1. Here in coverage of the Tri-County Baseball League, as the first pitch to Dylan Maria, the first baseman, is a strike, 0-1. 6 batters came to the inning for CHP in the bottom half of the first. 2 of them scored, one on an RBI single by Luke Lesh, and one on a wild pitch, the next batter. So that one's going to be 1-1. And the delivery. That one misses high and away. Yeah, we had some rain coming down on the way here, but now it looks like the skies have cleared up a little bit and have made for a nice view as we approach sunset, but there's a strike. I actually was supposed to cover a couple of Pitman games at night. It was going to be Collingswood and Pitman in the Thank You Classic, but then we had a rain-filled game and I was late, so... Oh! I don't know what he was doing there. He was tossing the bat. I guess he thought it was ball 4, but I don't think his math was right, so he is out. Maria is retired, and this brings up Jake Cupsey of Garton University. The DH, he'll be followed by the center fielder, Darren Fisher. Here's a pop-up out towards first base and foul. Over towards the roundabout. There is another game going on the adjacent field. I think that's like the Little League slash, you know, Pee Wee ball field. Oh, excuse me. I guess we had the count wrong all along. That's ball 4 to Maria. My bad there. I didn't notice that the batters didn't change. My apologies there. We can't get them all right. Now, here is Jake Cupsey, the DH. Apologies, folks. I'm still catch up with my scorecard because we got stuck in traffic on the way down here. I usually try to get to the ballpark about an hour before the game, and it ended up being closer to 40 minutes because of the traffic on 295 and 42, 55. It was bad, and the rain exacerbated it. So there's a swing and a miss. Didn't help the cause. So, but we'll see what CHP can do here with a runner on first and nobody out, considering the leadoff walk to Maria. There's a foul ball, 1-2, over towards the Cherry Hill Pitman dugout. Of course, this is a pretty hitter-friendly park, 310 down the left and right field lines, and then you've got 365 out to center field, which is somewhat shallow, but I know where I come from in Audubon, our Hank Greenberg field where we play our high school games, that's 380 to left center and then 350 to right. It's kind of got this weird power alley, if you will, but we're misses on a breaking ball. Definitely one of those situations where it's just, it's how the ballpark was built. Like, you can see the grass, out in center field, that kind of excess grass. You most certainly could extend the fence a little bit, but why could you? like why do you need to? So it's not that big of a deal. A 3-2 count to Jake Cupsey, the DH. Again, Darren Fisher, the center fielder, on deck for the GOV club. That's a weak dribbler back to the mound. Here comes the pickup, and the throw is in time by a step. And that will move Maria over to second base. So this will bring up Darren Fisher now, the center fielder. So runner on second, nobody out, following the fielder's choice there. Or excuse me, 1 out. Here on a humid night in Alcyon, it's 2-0 CHP here in the top of the second inning. Cherry Hill Pitman got 2 runs in the bottom half of the first, and now Gartons of Vineland have a runner in scoring position here in the top of the second inning. So there's a first pitch swing and a miss to Fisher, again with Sebastian Piscaretta, or Pisacreta, excuse me, the catcher in the on-deck circle. There's a ground ball out deep into the hole is short. Throw to first is in time. Nice play out there, by Gonzalez. And there's 2 down. Sometimes you got to make those plays out in short. It's kind of out of your comfort zone. You know, you don't know how good your arm strength is. You know, I've seen sometimes there's some shortstops and middle infielders that have been like converted into the outfield, and their arms just are so much better because they're used to playing deep in the hole at short. But you can see where Gonzalez is. He's like crouched down all the way out in the grass. That's definitely an interesting approach, but he has to have a lot of trust in his arm strength for that to be possible. I know sometimes we see the shift with the second baseman. Of course, that's now kind of been ostracized in the MLB, but it's definitely one of those changes that could really go either way depending on, you know, what side of the coin you look at. That one's outside to Pisa Creta with Jack Peacock, the extra hitter, on deck. And then after that, if the inning were to continue, Scott Craig and Ben Mayer would round out the order. There's a swing and a miss. And with 6 batters in the bottom of the first for CHP, it would be 7, 8, and 9. Millward, Cottrell, and Kuchera, the 7, 8, and 9 hitters, followed by Alvarado for Cherry Hill Pitman. That one is outside. Don't forget, folks, to tune in on September 9th at 10 a.m. as the Hunterdon Central Red Devils face off against the Delran Bears in a battle between 2 of the top South Jersey soccer clubs. As there's a pop-up out into straightaway left center, and it'll be taken in out there by Bill Rice, and the inning is over. So the Gartons get a runner in scoring position, but nothing more. We go to the bottom of the second, and we'll go to break. 2-0 CHP. Garden State Pet Center is an independently owned full-service pet store. Our specialty is promoting companionship between people and animals by providing the healthiest product choices available, including all-natural foods, supplements that support and relieve health issues, and innovative products for pet parents. Our goal is to provide our customers with a relaxing environment, and while we're not striving to be the biggest store on the East Coast, we're striving to be the best. No other pet store will make you feel at home like we do. At Garden State Pet Center, we view pets as members of the family. We don't believe in fast, high-pressure sales, but instead matching up the right pet with the right owners, as you are making a lifelong commitment. Together with our team members, we would like your visit to our store to be both enjoyable and educational. Simply drop in and take a look around. View the birds, reptiles, small animals, toys, food, cages, and miscellaneous items. Learn of the services we have to offer and decide for yourself if this is the store you'd like to call your home away from home.
Victor Santucci, owner of Garden State Pet Center. Visit us today at 226 South Whitehorse Pike in Audubon, New Jersey. We're open 7 days a week for all of your pets' needs.
Here in the bottom of the second inning, CHP leads the Gartons of Vineland 2-0. Here in some Tri-County Baseball League action, we're here with Vincent Vogt, our producer, our graphics crew, Gavin Van Rel and Caleb Lane, and myself, Dan Wilkins. Big thanks to Bill Kohut and Angelo Marciano for having us out here and having us able to do the game this evening here in Pitman, as there's a swing and a miss off the bat of Montana Millward. And it's a swing and a miss, 0-1. So as we were saying, we just picked up 2 games with the Delran Bears Soccer Club. So make sure to check that out at 10 a.m. both days on Saturdays. September 9th in Delran versus Hunterdon Central, and then October 14th versus St. Augustine and the Hermits. That'll be 2 great games there in Delran for the Burlington County Scholastic League. Swing and a miss by Millward, and it's a 2-strike count. Millward, Cottrell, and Kuchera, the 3 due up for Cherry Hill Pitman. Upstairs. Foul back. Upstairs. Got some tunes bumping from the other Little League game that's going on. I think they told him to cut the music because of the game. Well, he knew that was strike 3 from the time it got in his glove, and a strikeout for Mayer, his 3rd of the night. And this is going to bring up Sean Cottrell, the DH. That one is a strike. One and one to Sean Cottrell. Here's a strike, 1 and 2. Of course, the Tri-County League coming out from the July 4th break. They had 2 games on Friday the 30th with the Dogs and the Rough Riders, and then the Grizzlies and the Browns. But now 6 games tonight. Delran and CHBR, you've got, or that game is in progress. There's a swing and a miss. And Cottrell is down on strikes, 4 strikeouts for Mayers. You had Washington Township and the Rough Riders at 6:10, Grizzlies and Pine Barrens, the Phantoms at 6:30, Reds and Burlington Township, the Pirates at 7. Of course, this game that you're watching right now, and then the Grizzlies and the Pine Barrens in a doubleheader, that starts at 8:15. So it seems like every game except for the second twin bill of that doubleheader is in progress. There's a pop-up back behind the plate, backtracking and making the catch. Out there, nice play by Pisacreta, and the inning is over. CHP goes down 1-2-3. We go to the 3rd, 2-0 with the home side, CHP in front. The top of the 3rd here in coverage of the Tri-County Baseball League. Here from Alcyon Park in Pitman, CHP leads the Gartons of Vineland 2-0 after 2. First pitch is fouled back, and it's 0-1 to start the inning with Jack Peacock. This broadcast is brought to you by DJK Roofing, South Jersey's #1 roofing supplier with over 200 5-star reviews on the web. Get a free quote today by calling Carmine Rampola at 856-778-3900. There's a foul ball. Hey! It hit the soccer scoreboard down there. Yeah, I think it hit the back of it, and there's Bill Kohut down there making the play. You could hear somebody. I think that was Bill Rice in center field. He was just he was elated. And it almost hit it again. And the poor fella out there, he's got to retrieve the baseball. Man. It was like a gong sound, you know? Yeah. There's a line drive out to shallow right. Lay is going to lay out, but he can't make the play. He trapped it with his abdomen, and that's going to be a base hit for Peacock. So Gartons have a runner on to start the third, as Scott Craig will bat here to round out the order along with Lou Alvarado, the catcher. Swing and a foul, 0-1. Yeah, we picked up those 2 Delran soccer games a couple of days ago, and also our first football game of the year. Check us out week 1, August 25th, Friday Night Lights. And he is safe at first base on the pickoff attempt. But make sure to watch our first edition of Friday Night Lights on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting as the Cherry Hill East Cougars face off against the Triton Mustangs Friday, August 26th, 6 p.m. start time in Triton at Runnymede at the Regional High School. So there's a foul ball. We've got a couple of nice football games lined up, including one for Pitman on October 6th versus Lower Cape May Regional. So make sure to check that out, and of course follow all of our social media platforms, including on our Twitter at DW Broadcasting. And you can drop a subscription to our YouTube channel at Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. 0-2 from Schaub. That one misses. Schaub's been doing really nice, though. I mean, this is a new addition. He got picked up from RCSJ Gloucester, which is one of the top junior college teams in the country. They just came home with the Junior College World Series title, nationally. This year, so this is really no joke. I mean, JUCO players, they go on to do big things, especially if there's underlying conditions that may prevent them from going to like a D1 school. Those JUCO players really they have such a great flair in them, and that's a swing and a miss. They're going to throw behind the runner, and they didn't get him. So that'll be one out as Craig is down on strikes, and this will bring up Ben Mayer. Ben Mazer. The number 10 hitter out in left field for the Gartons. Ball 1. Two-oh. Throwing back to first, nothing going on there. There's a strike. 2-1. It'll be Alvarado, Rice, and Gonzalez due up for the CHP club in the bottom of the third. That one misses upstairs, and it'll be a hard-earned walk to Ben Mazer as we've got the top of the order coming up now with Ant Schooley. Some encouragement from Chris Williams. He's the manager of the Gartons of Vineland club. And of course, Chris Chris Rollins of RCGC, manager of the CHP Ball Club. So, of course, Rollins, though, is actually playing in the field. He's at third base, so that's got to be a hard task, though. I mean, you have to manage a team, and you... Hello.
What's going on tonight?
Happy 4th of July. Cinco de Julio. Where did that go off? Was it behind me? I didn't see anything in the sky, unless we're having a track race in the Olympics. Wow. That one is upstairs, and it's 2-1. Oh my goodness. Somebody just is really patriotic tonight. I don't know. I don't know, man. Wow. Somebody to let off some steam. There's a swing and a miss, and it's 2-2. Man, the things that you see and hear during a baseball game, nothing quite like it. Oh, man. 2 balls, 2 strikes, and 2 on with 1 out as the GOV tried to get themselves in a position to score here, try to break the stalemate. He'll poke one out towards short, picked up. Gonzalez tags the bag, throw to first is gonna be not in time. So fielder's choice. They got the one, couldn't convert. Although there's only 1 base umpire, so that is a hard play to make at first base. You know, you kind of have that good angle, but that's also, you know, you're the only man. You've got to make 2 calls at the same time. You know, a lot of the underfunded umpires, you know, people talk a lot about minor league umpires and the fact that they're trying to, you know, digitize them and make them, you know, robotic, if you will, with this automated ball and strike system that we've seen down in the minor leagues. But, you know, you think that they have it bad. Think about the youth umpires and, you know, these kind of umpires. They're great umpires. They're great people. They just don't get what they deserve. They don't get the good pay. They don't get, you know, the good scheduling. These guys are mostly doing it as like a second job for some extra money, and some of them do it for volunteers. So I've always been the kind of person to say that, you know, I will have, whether I'm on the field or off the field, I will always have the utmost respect for the umpires who are willing to deal with the kind of, you know, the verbal abuse that a lot of people give them. A lot of it's undeserved, you know. If you think about it, it takes 200 milliseconds for your eyes to blink. It takes like 0.2 of a second. Sometimes those plays happen in less than that. You know, the time it takes for the runner's foot to touch first and the ball to go into the first baseman's glove. So, you know, with science and statistics on my side, I'm not going to waver my favorability of umpires and what they do for the game. The fact that they're able to make the game progress in a way that makes it possible. You don't have a game without umpires, so, you know, they need to be there, and the fact that there's 2 of them tonight is a miracle. 2-2, upstairs and outside to Ant Schooley. He grounded out to second base to start the ball game. Garton's went down 1-2-3 in the first. They got 4 up in the second, and now they've got 2 on with 2 outs. We'll see if they can threaten here and get themselves on the board. 3-2 from Schaub. A swing and a miss, and he's got a strikeout. He gets out of the jam with 2 runners on, but Garton's is inching closer to getting on the scoreboard. We go to the bottom of the 3rd, moving along here in Pitman, 2-0 CHP. Bottom of the third inning, CHP leads the Gartons of Vineland 2-0. After 2.5, we've got ourselves a wonderful ball game here in Pitman. A humid night, but well worth it here, as the first pitch from Mayers is a ground ball by Alvarado, out to short, picked up, and the throw to first is in plenty of time, and Alvarado is retired. Still chugging it out, though, and that will be the first out as Rice comes up to the plate to bring us back to the top of the order. It'll be Rice and then Gonzalez, center fielder and shortstop, respectively. As Cherry Hill Pitman really got the ball rolling in the first inning, but now it seems like the offenses on both sides have kind of stagnated a little bit. As we said, all of the other TCBL games tonight are in progress except for the South Jersey Grizzlies at Pine Barrens game, which is going to be the second half of a doubleheader. That's scheduled for 8:15 tonight, so that'll be a late one. Tuck your kids in early, or let them stay up late, whatever is your preference. Here's the pitch from Mayers. That one will miss, and it is 1-1. Yeah, usually when I'm out here in Pitman, we've done a couple games like the Joe Lang Classic and a couple others versus Maple Shade and Woodstown, but we've had these games where the scoreboard is usually on. Here's a fly ball hit out towards straightaway left center. Calling for it and making the play out there will be Mazer. There's one down. So here's Adrian Gonzalez. Gonzalez singled in the first, but was out via a fielder's choice. And he'll try to get some life back into CHP here in the bottom of the third. By the way, 5 games going on tomorrow. Make sure you pay your attention to some of the good games that are going on tomorrow. 6:10 will be CHBR at Cinnaminson, Vineland at Delran, and then the Rough Riders at the Grizzlies. 6:45 will be Camden at the Haddonfield Bulldogs, and then the Pine Barrens and the Pirates face off at Ed Vierek Field at 7 p.m. tomorrow, Thursday, July 6th. So still getting into the winding down part of the regular season. The last games are going to be Tuesday, July 18th, and then we'll have our playoffs that'll extend into August. So very excited to have this opportunity to work with Marciano and co here with TCBL, and the ability to, kind of give this league its own spotlight and, its own little feature where, these people that are used to just hearing the scores after the game can now tune in as the game is going on and get themselves their 2 cents. That one misses low. I heard a firework off in the distance. I think people are getting rid of their leftovers, if you will. We heard one that was like right over our heads a couple of, I think it was last inning. I nearly jumped out of my skin. It was insane. I think it was behind me in the field back there. There's a lot of farmland back there. But the 2-2 is going to be a swing and a miss. Gonzalez strikes out, and Mayers has 6 strikeouts so far. We'll see how far he can roll, but Gartons of Vineland, they got a couple runners on in the last couple of innings. We'll see what they can do now. Going to the top of the 4th, 2-0 CHP. Here in the top of the fourth inning, Vineland looking to get the runs on the board and erase the deficit, but let's go to DWB trivia time. Today's question is, when was the last time that the Phillies had the first overall pick in the MLB draft? Is it A, 2016, B, 1997, C, 2002, or D, 1988? All years that Phillies fans would like to forget, but the answer will be revealed in the bottom of the fourth inning. We'll go back to the main board here as it's 0-1. Oh, that one was inside. Called a strike, though. It looked like he kind of bent out of the way a little bit, but it's going to be 0-2. There's another one. Somebody didn't use them up last night. Sometimes you hear the 4th of July fireworks up until like July 10th, something like that. Like the people who keep their Christmas trees up until the second week of January, like that kind of thing. It's just a matter of how many you have left, but it was only a couple of years ago that they lifted that ban, and now you see fireworks in the Acme and the Walmart, and I don't see the need for it. We've seen the NFL players like Jason Pierre-Paul who got their fingers blown off in the accident, so you don't need it. Just have a, firecracker, a swirl, or whatever you want to call it. Didn't get the call, although some of the Kips players, they seemed to have wanted that strike call. 2-2. Fouled back. And the pitch from Schaub is a ground ball foul out towards Rollins at third. That one is fouled back. This broadcast is brought to you in part by Perole's Printing and Bantle's Banners, Signs, and Apparel, the true one-stop shop for all your print and promotional needs with a 5-star Google rating. If you need anything in relation to banners, signs, apparel, and promotional swag, with over 50 years in business, find them in Runnymede. Perole's Printing and Bantle's Banners and Signs, proud sponsor of Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. The 3-2. From Shaw. It's a line drive out towards right center field. Lay going over, and he's got it. Austin Lay reaches out and makes the catch on the run, and that will be the first out of the fourth. Bringing up let's see here for Vineland here. It's like Dylan Maria. Just a couple. Just a few. There's a swing and a miss at a ball in the dirt. 0-1. Line shot to left. And that's going to be a fair ball in the corner, holding it first. He thought he was going to get away with two, but he wasn't. he thought he would, but not exactly. So a single there, and this will bring up, I believe, Cupsy, if my order is correct. I've kind of been playing catch up on my scorecard. Ground ball out towards third. Rollins has it. Throw to second is in the nick of time. And that will be the second out. Had to rebound there and make the play. So that was Dylan Maria, number 23. He is retired, and that brings up Darren Fisher. Chris Williams was nice enough to give us a roster with numbers on it so that we could identify everybody properly. And speaking of jersey numbers, though, the RCSJ pitcher, Ethan Schaub, you may have noticed if you've been looking closely, the back of his jersey does not say Schaub, it says Bard, which is the name of the unofficially official, if you will, GM of the CHP club. He's been around. He's been offering his services to the club for as long as it's been around, 50 plus years. And I saw him in the dugout, and I was talking to Chris Rollins. There he is down there, first base dugout. And I was talking to Rollins, and he said, well, I'm the manager. This guy's the GM. He takes care of all our stuff. And I thought it was really nice and sweet to see, this kind of involvement where the people have been very loyal to their club. I mean, Cherry Hill and Pitman seems like an odd match. They're 20 minutes away, the two cities. It's kind of like having a joint team between, like Oakland and San Jose, but it's just kind of a matter of, these guys congealing to be together and, having this kind of relationship on a ball club. So, oh, how about it? He dribbled it down the line, and it ended up being an infield single. You can't draw it up any better than that, really. I mean, the lines are perfectly straight down into the corner, and he made that work perfectly. So Fisher is going to get aboard, and that's going to put 2 runners on here for Sebastian Pisacreta. Here's a strike. Nice fastball there from Schaub. As we said, with RCSJ Gloucester, one of the best junior colleges in the nation. I mean, you could argue the best, considering they just won the Junior College World Series, but the product out of Haddon Township High School. That one is hit well out to left center field, and it is taken in by Rice, and the side is retired. So Garton's, for the second inning in a row, have gotten 2 runners on, but failed to score. We go to the bottom of the 4th, halfway home, here in Alcyon, 2-0 CHP. Here in the bottom of the 4th, it's time for DWB Trivia Time. Today's question is, when was the last time the Phillies had the first overall draft pick in the MLB draft? Was it A, 2016, B, 1997, C, 2002, or D, 1988? We've got our league organizer, Bill Cohut, here. What your guess is A, 2016. Vincent, our producer, what's your answer? You're saying A? Well, you both would be correct. It is 2016 when the Phillies drafted Mickey Moniak the center fielder who unfortunately didn't really pan out with the Phillies. Now he's doing okay with the Angels, though. As we'll go back to the main board here. At the first pitch from Mayers is going to be a strike, and that's how we start the fourth. We've got an arm warming up in the CHP bullpen. Number 37, that would be Cottrell, which would make sense considering he was the DH in the order, so he doesn't have to worry about any fielding responsibilities or obligations. By the way, in TCBL news, the Washington Township Senators beat the Haddonfield Rough Riders 2-0. Again, still got 4 other games going on, including that 8:15 game, probably starting in about 10 minutes' time, between the Grizzlies and the Phantoms. I mean, hopefully, if this, kind of partnership with TCBL, runs well through the rest of the regular season, I hope that if we come back in 2024, our goal can be to cover every team at least a couple times, and because there's a lot of games to be played. There's games almost every single day, and a lot of times I don't have stuff to do during the summer, so it really helps to be able to get out of the house and do something other than bowl at the Westbrook Alley for a little while. But pop up the third base will be the first out of the fourth. Getting a little darker here in Pitman, 8:05 local time. Been going on for just over an hour. Our broadcast been going on for an hour and 5 minutes. If you're just joining us, though, welcome to coverage of Tri-County Baseball here on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. If you have any questions or comments about today's broadcast, drop me a line at thedanwilkinsshow@gmail.com. There's a first pitch strike. To Chris Rollins. Lee Rollins and then Luke Lesh, who had an RBI single in the first. There's a foul ball. Rollins batting .333, 12 for 36 with an OPS of 1.002. That one misses up and away. 1 homer, 5 walks, 6 doubles, and 16 RBIs. Wavered at that one, and it is fouled back. Count is still 1-2. Another swing and a foul. Rollins doing anything that he can to stay alive in this at-bat and really working Mayers to the bone. We'll try it again, though. Rollins with the bases empty and 1 down. And a 1-2 count. Mayers. Oh, time is called. There's a strike. That should be 1-2. I think we may have had the balls and strikes swapped, but the scoreboard's not on, so we usually go off of that. But there's a foul ball. There was a youth game going on the adjacent field, as we said, with Winona and another team, but that's now over. And of course the parking lot's a lot emptier. Could have had one of those spots when I got here at 6:15, but that darn traffic. Base is empty, one down. Rollins still fouling off as many pitches as the eye can see, and looks like Cottrell is done warming up with Alvarado. So I wonder if Schaub's day would already be done. I don't know, maybe if he's working himself a lower workload because of his college commitments, but he's gone 3 innings so far, and there's a swing and a miss. Throw down the first is in time. Mayers with 7 strikeouts so far. The only caveat is that he's down 2-0. So we will see, though, what Luke Lesh can deliver here with an RBI single back in the first. First pitch is a strike. Lesh, the first baseman out of Rider University, 263 average, 921 OPS, 3 extra base hits and 8 walks, which brings his on-base percentage to a very nice 500. As that one misses, 1-1. 2 down here in the bottom of the fourth. Luke Lesh facing off against Stephen Mayers here in a game that has been relatively quiet so far, but could ramp up as the innings go on, as the 1-1 will be a ball. 2-1. Of course, we had again that 2-run first inning, but then really nothing else. Seems like what we've seen from this TCBL league so far is that offense doesn't really rule the day. This is kind of a lot like what we've seen in like the 1970s and 80s style of Major League Baseball, where pitchers are pretty dominant, and you've got some hitters that can hit for power, some hitters that can hit for contact, and some hitters that are more all-around guys, but pitchers at the end of the day really have the power. So that's kind of what we've seen here, both from Mayers and from RCSJ's Schaub. But that is going to be ball 4. So CHP with a runner on first and 2 down, looking to extend their reach a little bit and extend their lead, but they've got to get a run home before they can do that. So here is Cristino. He struck out to end the first inning his first time, but inadvertently he was also at the plate when the second of 2 runs scored on that wild pitch in the first. There's a strike. Really always loved Alcyon Park, really, for what it's worth. I mean, you can just see the views that everybody kind of looks at, you know, here in Alcyon, the trees that are, you know, all over, and really just creates a beautiful backdrop. And not only that, but, you know, I have family that live in Pitman and the surrounding areas, and they've got a really nice disc golf course around here. I'd love to go disc golfing one time, because it's like golf without the polos and without the club caddies, you know? You get to do it all yourself, and you get to throw it, you know? It's one of those obscure sports that I think deserves more recognition. But they've got one of those courses down there, and I mean, this entire area down in Gloucester County is just absolutely beautiful. It's kind of where you leave the Philly metro area, and this comes into like its own thing. You know, like where I'm from in Audubon, it feels like you're in like a suburb of Philly. You know, it just feels like you're just a part of that. But it also has its own flair. You know, it's got the suburban vibe to it, but it's obviously got a lot of connections to the city and stuff like that. Here, you know, you're kind of in your own space. This is kind of its own, its own identity and its own, you know, sort of vibe. Well, Stephen Mayers, he can ride the deficit, but his own stat line is going to be wonderful after tonight. 8 strikeouts in 4 innings, but CHP leaves a runner on. There's Luke Lesh right there. So we'll see what Garton's can come up with in the later innings of this one. It's 2-0 after 4. We'll be right back. here in the top of the 5th inning. Gartons of Vineland's trailing CHP 2-0, and obviously don't want to jinx anything, but things are looking good for Cherry Hill Pitman, obviously with an 11-0 record for the Gartons. Them being undefeated this year so far. Definitely was a, it definitely almost feels like a culture shock, the fact that they haven't done anything so far, but nice catch out there by Austin Lay. There's one down. He's made a couple of nice plays today. By the way, this broadcast is brought to you by Mountie from Chrysler, Dodge and Ram and Westbrook Lanes, new sponsors of Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. Really don't have a whole lot to say considering we haven't been provided a script yet and things are somewhat being worked out, but those are two of our newest sponsors. If you want to be added to the list and have your small business be a sponsor of Dan Wilkins Broadcasting, packages start at $150 and go all the way up to, well, more than that, but you get a lot of different perks and a lot of different commercials. As we've seen, we can film commercials on site for your business on location. We've done a couple of those so far, and we're proud to unveil a couple more as the summer goes along. But if you are interested in being a sponsor of Dan Wilkins Broadcasting and keeping our lights on, if you will, send me an email at thedanwilkinsshow@gmail.com. Again, that's thedanwilkinsshow@gmail.com, or my cell at 856-912-1302. That one's inside, 1 and 2. But yeah, always looking for new sponsors. We don't usually charge that much for schools or outside organizations to cover our games. We don't actually charge high schools to cover the games. We rely on donations of generous fans and our businesses that have partnered with us. We promise you will not have any regrets partnering with us. We have some great ways of marketing and outreach to get your brand on the map, get your business on the map, make sure that people, are putting butts in seats and getting in your store. So thank you to all our current sponsors, though, that have been sticking with us. But right now, the attention is on the fact that it's a 3-2 count from Schaub, who looks like he's going to try to stretch out one more inning, or at least 2/3 of one, although no, there's no out, so he will look for a full inning. Here's a ground ball out to second base, and the throw to first is in time for the first out. Schaub delivers, and the first pitch is a strike. That one's going to be out, 1-1. That one is foul. And that one will miss, 2-2. Ben Mayer takes it outside, 3-2. So it'll be Mayer, and then back to the top of the order with Schooley and O'Brien. 9-1-2. Line shot out to short, and Gonzalez could not make the... No, he did make the play. Oh, my goodness. I thought the left fielder was coming in. What a diving play by Adrian Gonzalez. Really got it running there, and the side is retired. We go to the bottom of the 5th, moving along quickly, 2-0 CHP. beautiful landscape of Pitman's Alcyon Park tonight. Here as we have Tri-County baseball between the Gartons of Vineland and the CHP Club. A beautiful night here in Pitman. Hope you all are enjoying the broadcast with us. What a ballpark, what a night. But it's 2-0 CHP as it is a 1-0 count. There's a strike. Cristino and then Millward and Cottrell are the three on deck for the team known as Kip's Bad Guys. I noticed that on their jerseys. I talked to Chris Rollins about it, and he said, don't call us the bad boys. So we don't like that. Call us the bad guys. Which makes sense. This is a veteran team. A lot of guys in their 30s, and we saw in our pregame graphic, you know, the header I put was aged like fine wine, you know, because it's, you know, you see a lot of these guys that it's a collegiate league, but, you know, these guys also just want to play baseball. They played in college. They've played in the minors before. They've played in, you know, the professional realms of baseball. And now that their careers professionally are over, this semi-pro league is still a good haven for these guys to, you know, still be able to play the game that they love, even though it's not in a, I wouldn't say unprofessional setting, but it's in a more relaxed setting. You know, this is kind of my pace of baseball. This isn't a game that needs to be rushed. This isn't a game that needs to be sped up or, you know, rushed or anything like that. I like this pace of play a lot better. You know, a lot more peace of mind. Like right now we're at an hour and 22 into the broadcast. Feels like it's been a little bit longer, but we've had Phillies games. Like I went to a Phillies game back in the first week of June versus Detroit. Kyle Schwarber hit a home run as the first batter of the game, and nobody else scored the rest of the night, as there's a big swing and a miss by, Millward. But the crazy thing about it all was that it was 2 hours and 7 minutes. I was home by 10:30. That never happens for a Phillies game. That was, me being a stat nerd, as there's a strikeout 4 in a row for Schaub, but this will bring up Cottrell. The thing about the Phillies is that when I go to a baseball game, me being a stat nerd, I keep a spreadsheet of all the games that I've been to, you know, and they're like their attendance, the score, who pitched, that kind of thing, the home runs that were hit, that kind of thing. And the Tigers-Phillies game was 13 minutes shorter than any other Major League Baseball game I'd ever attended. 2 hours and 7 minutes. I barely had time to get food and ice cream, and then the night was over. Phillies won, though. I mean, it was great, but it just went so quickly, about like a basketball game. Because basketball games and hockey games, they're timed. You know, they can only take so long because that's 3 20-minute periods. But it's 1-1. So Cottrell at the dish. He was retired his first time in the second inning. And there's a high drive deep to left. Is it going to stay fair? It is foul. Wait, what? No, how is that a fair ball? I thought that was... Okay, so that's going to be a 2-out double for Cottrell. That was right into the corner. It was a close call right there. I don't know, but CHP, that had home run distance right there. If the wind was blowing out, we've got no breeze tonight, which doesn't help with the humidity, but man, really, that was a wonderful hit off the bat of Cottrell, and that will set the stage for Kuchera. First pitch, outside. 2 outs and a runner on second. The utility man out of Arcadia University, batting 162, 6 for 37. Ground ball out to short, throw to first, a nice stretch, and the side is retired. So a 2-out double gives some life to CHP off the bat of Cottrell, but nothing further. Inning over, we go to the 6th. It is 2-0 CHP. Top of the 6th, make or break time here for the Gartons of Vineland here in Tri-County Baseball League coverage here on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. First pitch from Sean Cottrell, the new pitcher for the CHP club. He's going to miss upstairs, 1-0. Sorry, we were one off in the order in the bottom half. It was Kuchera, Brett Kuchera of Arcadia, who hit the double. Lou Alvarado was the last out. They, I guess, skipped over him or something because we had, let's see, the catcher, Montana Millward, strike out for the second out, and then it was Kuchera who had the double. So, seems like it's all sorted out now, but it's 2-1. Kuchera, the utility man out of Arcadia University, though, and the new pitcher being Sean Cottrell out of Eastern University. He's had 3 appearances this year, but a 21 and 2/3 innings, 1.69 ERA though, 21 strikeouts, 4 earned runs, and 2 complete games. So he's been known to go to distance, but he is in relief tonight for Schaub. And there's a line drive caught by Gonzalez at short. He's had a couple of web gems in this one, and that will be the first out. Like we said, this is make or break time, really. You know, we saw the action early, and obviously the pitching has been really good tonight, but this is really the true test if the Gartons are going to make it out unscathed. But the first pitch is going to be a strike to Nick O'Brien, and of course, this being so crucial with the top half of the order, the top 3, Schooley, O'Brien, and McIsaac. The fellow warming up in the Garton's bullpen. We'll get a beat on him shortly, but 2-1. Here's a pop-up out towards shallow right, going over, trying to make the play over towards the fence, and it's foul. That was a great effort there over at first by Luke Lesh to try to kind of outrun his own man, but just really solid effort there. I think he would have leaned over the fence if he had to make the play, but 2-2 with 1 down. Sunset falling on us here at Alcyon Park. Beautiful night for baseball, although albeit a little humid, as I've said about 5 kajillion times already, but there's a strike. Nice strikeout there from Cottrell. That is a big strikeout there, and there's going to be 2 down for McIsaac. So here's Ryan McIsaac. That one's upstairs. He is 0 for 2 in the ball game. Gartons have no runs on just 2 hits in this one. There's a strike. CHP, on the other hand, they have 2 runs, both scored in the first inning, on a grand total of, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hits. 4 misses, 2-1. So 2 down in the top of the 6th after the line out and the strikeout. And a foul back makes it 2-2. If the inning were to continue, Dylan Maria is on deck for the Gartons. Outside corner, couldn't get him. And it'll be 3-2. Again, big spot here for Cottrell versus Ryan McIsaac, trying to break the stalemate that's been going on since the first, and he got him. 2 strikeouts for Cottrell, and that will retire the side on a close call at the plate. We go to the bottom of the 6th with some emotions boiling over here in Pitman. 2-0 CHP. We'll be right back, folks. Bottom of the 6th inning, big spot here for the CHP ball club. By the way, new score coming in, Delran 0, CHBR third base 2. And there's a strike to start off the bottom of the 6th. Had a couple of 2-0 scores tonight, but you know, as we've heard before, you'll see any type of game in this league. A lot of offense, a lot of defense, but what we've understood from the Garton's ball club is that there's a lot of, you know, really deep pitching, and maybe the offense can be a little bit off at times, but they can find their right guy to be clutch in the right moment. So, you know, that clutch factor really is a big part of their game, and winning close games is also pretty big. So fly ball popped up to short, and there's one away. So Cristino is retired. Or excuse me, no. Billy Rice is retired, and this brings up Adrian Gonzalez. He's had a lot of nice plays tonight, and we've been able to see the best out of AG in what has been an otherwise kind of very mellow ball game. Again, the only offense, we've only seen one run scored off the bat of a hitter before. We saw Luke Lesh with an RBI single in the first, and then the next man up, a wild pitch scored, and it was 2-0, and we've been set ever since. So I know one of the craziest offensive games I ever covered, as there's a ball, was a game between Audubon and Collingswood. And Audubon was up 14-2 in the 5th. Looked like game was over. And Collingswood roared back. They scored 6 runs in the bottom of the 5th. As that one is going to be ball 4. So Gonzalez, to the dismay of some on the visiting ball club, they don't seem to like that call, but he's going to get ball 4. So here is Austin Lay now. 0 for 2 at a fielder's choice and a pop out in his first 2 at-bats tonight, but winding down here at Pitman, you're watching coverage of Tri-County Baseball here on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. That one's way upstairs. But an otherwise relatively quiet night. Swing and a miss. There's a strike. Going to be 2-2. With one down, a runner on first being Gonzalez. There's a swing and a miss. Big strikeout there from the right-hander, and there's going to be 2 down. By the way, forgot to mention a new starting pitcher, or new relief pitcher, excuse me, for the Garton's club, as that one is a long foul ball. I don't know who wants to grab that one. 0-1. Number 21 is on the hill for the Garton's club, but I don't have him on my roster, so I have to play the guessing game. Gonzalez is going. He's going to try for his 6th stolen base, and he's got it uncontested. Although technically that could be scored defensive indifference. And we're going to have a mound visit here. Trying to talk it over, trying to go over some strategy a little bit, change up the signs maybe, but who knows? Oh, 0-1. There's a strike. 0-2. So with 2 down, Rollins trying to keep the inning alive and trying to drive home his teammate, Adrian Gonzalez, here and extend CHP's lead to at least 3. But he will not do it. A swing and a miss. And the side is retired. Garton's has 3 more outs until their 11-0 streak can be broken. We go to the top of the 7th, 2-0, Cherry Hill Pitman. Here in the top of the 7th inning, crunch time for the Gartons of Vineland here on a beautiful night in Alcyon Park in Pitman, as we've got the middle of the order up, but high tensions as the GOV look to avoid getting their first loss of the year. They've won 11 straight to start it, and who knows, this streak could be in jeopardy as CHP. They've been up 2-0 since the first inning and have not backed down, as there is a ball outside. It's 1-1. Should be 4, 5, and 6. Dylan Maria, followed by Jack Cupsey and Darren Fisher. The 3 to bat for the Gartons, as that one misses. 2-1. This broadcast is brought to you by Garden State Pet Center, an independently full-service pet store on the White Horse Pike in Audubon. More information at exoticpetsnj.com, with the store being open up 7 days a week. That one's taken in at first base, and there's 1 down. So here is Jack Cupsey. Cupsey's 0 for 2 on the night. By the way, stay tuned after the game because we won't be going home just yet. Stay tuned for the Doug Does Anything post-game show for the player that can do anything. This broadcast is brought to you by Doug Does Anything, your local handyman. If you need a job done, no matter how big or small, give Doug Does Anything a call at 856-412-0118 or check him out on Facebook at Doug Does Anything. Pitch to Cupsey upstairs. If it were to be a CHP player, I'd probably go for either Luke Lesh or Ethan Schaub, considering that both of them really shut down Garton's tonight very well, and it's 2-1. Obviously, the night's not over till it's over, but anything can really happen in these, last couple of innings with how everything's kind of going along. That one's upstairs. 3-1. There's a strike. 2-2. 1 out, bases empty. CHP up 2-0. All the offense in this game has been in the first inning, and we've kind of been stagnant since then, but really a very nice pitching performance by both sides. That is ball 4, and Gartons may have the spark that they need to get going. The question is, do they have a lighter, or is it going to flare out? We've got up now the number 6 hitter, Darren Fisher. After the walk to Cupsey. After that would be Sebastian Pisacreta. That one goes to the backstop, and going to second base is going to be Cupsey, and he'll get in there uncontested. So that's going to get him aboard, and that's going to put Gartons for the 3rd time tonight in scoring position, for the 3rd separate inning tonight in scoring position. But that big goose egg on the scoreboard doesn't help their case. That one misses. To anyone just tuning in, it's 2-0 CHP over the Gartons of Vineland here in Tri-County action here in the top of the 7th inning. As that one is a strike. 1-1. Excuse me, 2-1. This is the best thing about having a quiet ballpark, is that you can hear the umpire. 2-2. I remember there's some umpires that are just they're so well spoken that you can hear them from out here, even if there's a big crowd. But if they're quiet, you can only hear the batter and the catcher, and can't hear the umpire. That's why I want to put mics behind home plate, you know, when I have more money. That one misses. But as we've been talking about all night, tight zone, a lot of things that maybe 80% of umpires would have called a strike. It's led to a lot of walks, led to a lot of full counts. It's led to a lot of different things, but hasn't led to a lot of more runs, I'll tell you that much. Here we go. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Fouled. Here we go once again. The payoff from Cottrell. Big moment here with 1 down and a runner in scoring position. There's a pop-up out towards first. Lesh going over, and it's just beyond the metal grandstands down the first base line. Here we go again. The pitch. Outside, ball 4, and that's going to put a runner on first and second. So it'll occupy that empty base, and this makes things interesting. You know what they say, it's never over till it's over. And that's exactly what we're seeing the perfect exemplification of right now. As 2 runners are aboard for Sebastian Pisacreta. That one is a strike. Swing and a miss. And it's very quickly 0-2. You've still got another out to conquer, but this makes things a little bit easier for Vineland, considering that a ball in the gap or a ball back up the middle, which they've had a couple of tonight. I mean, they're trying to prevent that the best way that they can in the middle infield with the way Gonzalez is set up at short, but that one's outside. obviously trying to protect the base, but also making sure that if this guy hits one back up the middle, you can be prepared for a 4-6-3 or a 6-4-3 double play and send the CHP club home happy. But you never know. Crazy stuff happens in this game, and this might just get crazier. There's a ground ball out towards second base. He'll get the tag, and he couldn't get the runner at first, and Vineland stays alive for another batter. That was very, very close right there. Cottrell, I think, thought that he might have got him, but that's a bang-bang play. Really not a whole lot you can do about it, but great play out there by Cristino. That would have been a 4-6-3, but... So here's Jack Peacock. It's time for the last call presented by Garden State Pet Center. 7 days a week, open on the White Horse Pike in Audubon, New Jersey. Check them out at exoticpetsnj.com. Outside. It's been a great night here in Alcyon. We'll see if it can get even better with runners on the corners. 2 down and a 1-0 count to Jack Peacock. Upstairs, they're going to throw behind the runner, and it's going to go in the right field. The throw went awry, and Vineland has a run in possibly the most peculiar way. I mean, I don't understand the logic there. Throwing behind the runner, that's a taboo you were taught against in Little League. Not for the last out of the game. That's not the right move. I mean, wow. It's going to give Vineland here a huge advantage. Now that ball gets away from the catcher. Just something has gotten into CHP, and they are on the brink of folding a 2-run lead. It's, again, 2-1 and a 2-0 count to Peacock, but that'll be scored as an E2 that brings home the run. There's a strike, but if they win, they'd be winning by the skin of their teeth, I'll tell you that much. After this, for the GOV club would be Scott Craig. Runner leads off of first, and a pop-up out in the shallow center field. Camping under it, Gonzalez. He makes the catch, and the streak is over. The Gartons of Vineland, after winning 11 straight, have been dethroned in the home court of Cherry Hill Pitman by a final of 2-1. A defensive-led game with 2 runs being scored in the bottom of the first, and after that, the only run that was scored was about 60 seconds ago on the throwing error by the CHP catcher. What a night it was. What a debut it was for Dan Wilkins Broadcasting here in the Tri-County Baseball League. Big thanks to everybody, Angelo Marciano, Bill Kohut, for having me out here. Hopefully we can do more games down the line, because this one was fun, and we got a lot of viewers watching the broadcast either now or all the way back in the first inning. Really was a great experience from start to finish, and a great game from start to finish. We'll have your Doug Does Anything player of the game for the player that can do anything. That post-game interview coming up, along with our final goodbyes before we pack up our equipment and get out of here. So stay tuned. We'll be right back with our post-game interview, and we'll go to break real quick. We'll be right back, folks. Stay tuned. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the final from today's Tri-County Baseball League matchup between the Gartons of Vineland and the CHP Club, 2-1 in favor of the home side. Ethan Schaub of RCSJ is your player of the game. 5 shutout innings rather, really just drove the whole game through, considering these guys 11 straight wins for the Gartons.
Yeah.
Now you've knocked them off. How did you feel out there tonight?
Felt great. Every outing I'm getting stronger, and this outing I had all my pitches working and felt good.
I mean, you joined the team a couple of weeks ago after your season ended with the Junior College World Series championship. That was a great thing to watch live. I mean, obviously, you know, being a guy from the Audubon area who is very close to that RCSJ community, it was a huge accomplishment. So now that you've kind of shifted from the more competitive side to does this feel more like a training competition to you, or what is this league and its values? You know, what does it mean to you as a pitcher in one of the most prestigious programs in the country?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to get out here and get my work in this league for summer ball. I wouldn't say the competition isn't like that drastic. Like, pretty good players in this league too, so I'd say it's pretty similar.
And you've got some people in the other Rowan realms as well. I mean, your manager, Chris Rollins, from RCGC as well, you know, all those sub-campuses with Rowan. Yeah. But really, just, it was a pitching-dominated game tonight. Stephen Mayers of Gartons had 8 strikeouts, 5 innings, and you had a fair amount as well in your time as well. But just the fact that you guys were able to knock off the Gartons with that 11-game win streak really just shows that maybe things are changing a little bit, and you guys maybe could string together a couple more wins and have yourselves that first place in the TCBL South. So going forward, you know, you've only been with this team for a couple of weeks, but how do you feel with the environment and how you've been interacting with your teammates, this being your freshman year going into sophomore year of college at RCSJ? How does this kind of environment kind of help you train or develop yourself as a pitcher? How do you feel like with your teammates and everything like that?
Definitely. Just going out there trying to work on all my pitches, like master them and make sure they're crisp and ready to go for the season.
How does your team feel going forward with these last couple of weeks?
We feel good. I think we can definitely contend for a championship.
That's very good news to hear. Thank you, Ethan.
Thank you.
You are the player of the game presented by Doug Does Anything, and that will be how we wrap tonight. Might not want to catch the late bus. So thank you, Ethan. And that will be how we wrap up tonight. The final score, CHP 2, Gartons of Vineland 1. Thank you for everyone to watching this Dan Wilkins broadcasting coverage of Tri-County Baseball. From everybody here at DWB, my graphics crew, Gavin Van Rel and Caleb Lane, my producer, Vincent Vogt, and myself, Dan Wilkins. We'll see you the next time we're on air. Follow us on Twitter at DW Broadcasting to know when we'll be on air, and we'll see you next time. Good night, everybody.